congratulations to your new single.
Thank you. Thank you.
You should know, but you probably know that your first big hit, I believe, is still really strong in our country. Really
I
strong,
heard about that. That's crazy.
It is crazy. A rotation, like, oh my God.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that too. But the thing is, you started writing music in 2016, right? So it's been a couple of years.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Actually, I started writing music when I was a child, but I started releasing my first songs and, doing it seriously in 2016. And so that 5 years or 6 years period was like ups and downs a lot of the time. And in 2021, it was actually at a point where I didn't really know how it goes on and didn't really know how to go on. And then when I Believe came and it, turned it all around and everything started to work at once, it was crazy. So thank you so much for the support, and to everyone in Slovakia, because, I would never have expected to have a song do this in Germany, but then outside of Germany, that's even crazier. So thank you so much.
Why do you think this was the breakthrough? Because you've released like a lot of singles. Why do you think I Believe was the one?
It's always so difficult to tell and to explain, and I try not to think about this too much, because you always try to get like a formula and a way how to get it right all the time, but you can't. So it's just like me guessing that probably the moment where I restarted as Kamrad, because the years before I released as Tim Kamrad with my full name, and I had some time to figure out a sound that I really like, and I Believe was like the song that I released that I loved the most at the time when I released it. So I have never had a song that I loved as much as I Believe. So maybe it's that kind of feeling that people, got as well when they heard that song. So that honesty, that that passion. But I also think it's maybe it's like the whole topic, about relationships, about the dating thing, where you don't really get to know people well these days. So I think it's everything coming together. And I'm really happy that it happened, but I can't, 100% explain it.
And it's just a pity that it took so long, right? Because you could, if it happened earlier, you could have been, a superstar by now. So it's
maybe. But the thing is, of course, you wish that these things happen to you like in the first year where you make music, because you always want to be on the big stages. You want to go there immediately. But I'm actually quite happy that it worked that way, because right now I'm 25. I think I had these experiences right now, and I know what I want, and I know which people I want to work with and all that stuff. And at 18, I didn't really know that. So I'm quite happy that it didn't happen like with Justin Bieber, where he was like, huge superstar overnight with 16 years old. I think that can be dangerous as well. And when you're 25 and you have your experience in the business, in the music industry, I think it's good, to not have it that fast. But I wouldn't mind if it goes now, if it starts faster now. So it's I want to go up there. But,
Tim, I think it's happening.
Yeah, but it's just like, for me, it's cool that it worked the way that it did, because at a point where a lot of crazy things happen, and you could be overwhelmed by all that. You can think of like last year or the year before, and you're like, oh, things were completely different then. Like, so stay humble, stay on the ground, and just focus on the music. And that's good. It's good to have bad times in the past.
Okay, so let's talk about Feel Alive. It's a very motivational song for me, at least for me. It's about, well, you know what it is about. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. But you probably, when you wrote it, you must have been, you must have experienced the rock bottom, right? Because, you can't write about something you can, but it's really difficult, I think. So I just wanted to ask, like, how deep was the bottom you hit?
So yeah, I actually experienced it, because I feel like it doesn't make sense to make music about stuff that you didn't experience, that you can't relate to, because how should people feel it when you can't feel it yourself?
Exactly.
It doesn't work. So yeah, for me, actually, it was like the 2021, I think it was middle of 2021, where I was afraid that I couldn't go on with my music, that things don't work. I just separated from my old team, my old management. I was basically completely alone, and I started working with a new team, had no money. I couldn't really pay my rent and all that. So I was like, oh, was it the right decision to make music and all that stuff? You know, all these questions that you don't want to have, but I had those. And then actually my parents took out a loan to support me, you know, produce I Believe and go on a tour and all that. And when it worked out, then, you know, when I realized, you know, I Believe is connecting to people and not the success, but like people really liking the music, I was like, oh, that's so great. And I want to capture this moment. And that's why I wrote I Feel Alive, actually, because it's about that, you know, fun and that good vibe coming back to your life. And I think for me, it was with my music. But for a lot of people, maybe it's a bad relationship that is ending, or maybe an argument that you could end, or maybe even a bad job that you quit. So that moment can happen a lot of times. And for me, it was the music.
Okay. And was it also that moment that you have felt alive the most?
So yeah, it was one of the moments, like in general, last year was crazy. For me, it was like the like living in a dream, actually. So I felt really alive last year in general. But yeah, the moment when I realized that things start to, you know, become good, and that I don't have to be afraid anymore. That I felt so light, you know, I had so much fun making music, and that was like that alive feeling. But actually there's so many other moments when I think when I'm on stage, for example, I don't think about tomorrow, I don't think about yesterday, I just live in the moment. And I think that's such a feel alive moment for me as well. So I think all these moments when we don't think about, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow, what happened yesterday, these are like the most special moments.
Okay.
Yes.
If this hadn't happened, this moment in 21, would you quit? Would you quit music?
I don't think so. You know, sometimes you worry, like everybody knows these like dark moments when you're like, oh no, it's not going to go on, I'm going to stop. But actually I didn't really have that seriously. You know, I always wanted to keep on going with my music, and I never had a plan B. So there wouldn't be an option to quit because I wouldn't have anything that I could do otherwise. So I'm
Well,
just
you
happy
studied
that
economics. At least you
well,
started.
I started, yeah. Yeah, but
Okay.
you know, when I started, I realized how, you know, I just didn't want to do it. And I hated every day going to university. And I was like, that can't be my life. I can't, you know, I was 18 at that time. I was like, it can't be my life to hate every day that I wake up. So basically I think I would have gone on, but you know, right now it's good that it worked, because
Yeah.
at some point my parents would have been too worried about it.
Hey, talking about your parents, that was a wonderful gesture. I mean, yeah, every parent does it for their kid, right? But you know, to take up a loan and stuff like that, like wow, they must really love you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the thing is, my father was always like a hobby musician, so he always had the dream himself to become like a musician, but he couldn't do it because he came from Poland when he was, I think, 18. So he didn't have anything basically in Germany. My mother as well. So they had to build a new life and couldn't focus on like chasing their dreams. They had to like build a life. And so when I had that same dream, he was like, okay, let's try to make it possible. And that was amazing. So they never had a lot of money themselves. So that loan was a huge risk, actually. And that was crazy. So right now it's so cool to see my parents relieved and happy and proud, because you know, I was afraid that I mess it up, but I didn't. So it's all good.
Yeah,
It's
good for you. And
yeah, it's all come
actually,
out good. Yeah.
yeah, actually, there will be like two dreams coming true. Yours and your father's as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. And it's so funny because sometimes you would you know, you would imagine that he kind of forced me to do that. It's not true. It's just like he was so happy that he could like see everything that happened last year and this year still. So I think it's really cool, because a lot of times when you're young, your parents try to make you happy as a child, but it's so cool when you can give it back. And last year, I think my music and all that made them happy, and that was so cool.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds great, really. I'm happy for you and for them as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Uh, your parents are from Poland. Uh, tricky question. Can you speak Polish?
Well, so the thing is, I grew up in Germany, so I never really, you know, had to learn it, but my parents, you know, talk Polish all the time at home. So I learned to understand a lot, but I really have problems in finding the words when I try to talk. So I was on Polish television the other day, and I, you know, had some sentences, you know, built in my head that I could say. And when I say them, I think it kind of sounds authentic in a way. But unfortunately, I'm not great at Polish, which, you know, annoys me right now. But as a child, I didn't want to learn it. And yeah, everybody knows it. I think learning something as a child is so much easier than learning it as an adult. So right now I'm struggling, but my goal actually is to get better in Polish the next year.
Is it? Okay. What's your favorite phrase in Polish or sentence or whatever?
So there's one sentence that I always have to say, which is mój polski nie jest najlepszy, which means my Polish isn't great. So
yeah,
that's like the most common sentence.
Poland is our neighbor from the north. So a lot of people speak Polish in Slovakia.
Oh, really?
And we kind of like they both are Slavic languages. So we have a lot of words in common. And you know, when we meet, we can like kind of using our hands and a little bit of words, we can understand each other. So it's funny.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually the thing is, my dad he started listening to all these international radio stations when I believe was played there, and also to you and to Slovakia radio in general. And that was funny because sometimes I came to my parents and I was like, what is that language? It's not Polish, but it sounds so similar. And he was like, yeah, I've been listening to it for like 2 days right now, and I can't understand some stuff. So I can't imagine. Yeah, but it's crazy. Like for me, it's you know, understanding Polish is quite hard. So I can't understand Slovakian, but maybe at some point I will.
Well, actually, you are coming to Slovakia in the summer.
I am. Yes.
If that's correct, Love Stream Festival.
Yes.
Yeah. So you will experience, you know, will it be your first time?
It will be actually. So I drove past Slovakia and actually through Bratislava as well. So I saw a bit, but I haven't been there really. So it's going to be my first time.
Cool, great, yeah. Well, we're looking forward to have you. And
me too.
And since you know you've never been here, and you might want to talk to the crowd, to your fans, to whoever, okay, I can teach you, let's say, 3 most important things that you should know in Slovak. Very
please.
easy. You always have to know how to order beer. So you say,
that's a good point.
Dve piva, because you're always your friend.
Yeah.
Dve piva.
Okay, I know that. Actually, it's quite similar to Polish, so that I won't forget. Yeah, dve piva. Is it dve?
Dve piva.
Yeah.
And ľúbim ťa, I love you.
Ľúbim ťa. I think I heard that as well. Is it ľúbim ťa? Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I will. So that's my plan to say it. Actually, I also already Googled it. So I wanna say a bit of Slovakian stuff on stage, but it's gonna be you know, you're excited anyways when you're on stage, and then you forget stuff. And I'm really afraid that I mess it up, but I'm gonna practice. Ľúbim ťa.
And the last most important thing, ďakujem.
Ďakujem. I think it's
very similar to Polish.
Yeah, dziękuję. So ďakujem. Yeah. Great. It has a lot of similarities. Wow.
I told you, we've got a lot in common with the Polish language. Yeah.
That's cool.